We were just chatting and we lost track of time. Hi.
Hello,
So let us know who is here as soon as you can. How are you, Kshara?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good too.
Great.
I forgot to take coffee today, but I am very woken up, so that's good.
Nice. So let's see who all we have today.
Yeah. Um,
Meanwhile, do we have any new updates to share? Maybe the Cloud Hub ones?
um, do we have anything? Yeah, the Cloud Hub. Maybe you
Yeah.
can just go ahead.
So yeah, we have the new Cloud Hub 2.0 launch, and do check out the exciting features. I haven't tried it yet, so can't comment much, but I would definitely recommend you all to check it out. What are the new features? What all do we have in place? And how different it is from the original one. So all I know is I mean it's based on the Kubernetes architecture and stuff, so it will be like quite fast deployment. Um, yeah, from that perspective, and I'm expecting some new features. Let's see. I'll do share the link with y'all, so maybe y'all can just go through the blogs and stuff and get to know more about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, hi. We already have a lot of highs. Hi.
Hello.
Where is everyone joining from? Akshara is in London. I am in near Toronto. We'll check Cloud Hub too. Yeah, it looks great. I think I have the blog here somewhere.
Yeah, I'll just share in the studio.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, here's the blog article.
So apart from this, like today that we are going to talk more about security, getting started with the security series. So basically, this is going to be like, hi Karthik, should we get started, Alex, or we should be waiting for some time?
I think we can get started. Oh, there's already a question.
Will Cloud App be no? It's not enabled by default. You'll be selecting it. Like you'll be when you deploy an application on your runtime manager. I've seen it in the video as well. So you'll be getting multiple options, like hybrid Cloud Hub or Cloud Hub 2.0, depending on your clusters and stuff. Like where do you actually want to install? And yeah, but it's currently available for all, like across all the region. The GA release. So do try it out if you get a chance.
Sweet.
Document your experience as well.
Yes. All right, I think we can get started.
So today mainly we are going to speak like we're going to this is actually starting a security series wherein we are going to have like multiple sessions whenever I hi Arul, thanks for joining.
Hey, Errol.
So we are going to have multiple security series. Basically, it's going to be like this is going to be the first session, but going forward, like whenever I get chance, whenever Alex invites me again, and we have an available slot, yeah, I'll do pop in and I'll just add something on security stuff because that is something my favorite. And yeah, so I want to. I mean, I've been also actually working and researching on like what security best practices have you guys been using at your organization. Yes. So, what security best practices you guys have been using? If there is something new that you have been trying, if there is some different model that you have been approaching, so do mention in the comment section because that will really add to my research, like how we can optimize or what else we can do, something like that. I have been trying some security best practices with MuleSoft, like with the API manager, the very basic ones, like just the API. I mean, using the API manager, the custom policies, and also the out of box policies, which we have in default. So today we'll be just trying some different out of box policies, and we'll see how we can layer our security policies. But going forward, maybe we can have some custom policies, and we can also optimize a custom policy. We can enhance them. Then we'll also deep dive into like anypoint security, try different stuff for RTF, maybe using the anypoint flex gateway, and discover more about the anypoint security as well, like in terms of tokenization, detokenization. But that's quite like far-fetched dreams. Like I still have to get access on that. But for time being, like at least we can start with something easy and basic, which everyone can relate to, and y'all can definitely try this out because it's that easy. So yeah, I've been already sharing my screen. Okay. Nice. So, yeah, if you want a link to the presentation, the zero trust security topic, it's on my slide share. Maybe you all can just go through, but that's more of a theoretical part. And today we are just gonna, Alex will share the link with you guys. Today we'll be like, this is again my new account, but yeah, I just do have a simple API which I have already created. It's gonna be like, yeah, I've been using this API like almost everywhere. I don't know why, but yeah, it's easy. I mean, the name basically. So I've just created this API, which is like having just one endpoint, we just call it songs, and it's quite pretty simple. You just try it out and you send it, and you're getting the response. Okay, nothing fancy, nothing super extraordinary, nothing. It's just very, very simple. So yeah, keeping this simple, I've just published this thing on Exchange, the simple endpoint. And after that, I have scaffolded the API. We have our application over here, a system API basically. So that's it. I mean, if you want the steps, I'll be documenting it, the steps as well. Okay, sorry, I should be using this. So something is wrong. Yeah, as usual. So we have a message flow, and yeah, this is it. Like I just have a listener endpoint and some global elements and stuff like in place. Nothing I've done. Like this is just a basic application which we have. And yeah, I have also deployed this application on Cloud App. So the first step was creating your API design, scaffolding a Mule application. Like just it's simple as like building a Mule application. And then we have also deployed it on design. I mean your runtime manager. So let's go to runtime manager and check it out. So yeah, it's a view. So regarding the Cloud Hub thing, right? Cloud Hub 2.0. So when you're deploying an application as a deployment target, you should be seeing the option like Cloud Hub 2.0. So if you have that option, subscription, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys are having, just check it out. But yeah, you have to buy the subscription or something like that. But yeah, I don't have the option. Maybe whenever I get it, we can do a stream on that as well. For now, yeah, we have the logs. I mean, this is just the application. So the first thing when you want to apply a policy on your application, so let me just actually show you this, show you the security, this thing, the architecture, like what we have. It must be somewhere over here. MuleSoft architecture. So just for basic understanding, like suppose if you're having an API manager where we are actually API manager is more like the governance thing. It's like a gatekeeper on which will you applying your policies and all, and it's going to be actually validating or verifying like if your authentication or whatever policies or security stuff you have applied is actually valid or not, if it makes sense, if it is authenticated, if it is authorized, and it will be then allowing access to the backend API. So whatever request it comes, right? So first it will be the basic endpoint or the proxy endpoint. It will be coming via your API gateway, and then it will be like checking if the policies, the regulations, and all are met or not, and then it will be going ahead to the backend API. So now we have a designer, I mean API design, using which we have created a Mule application, okay, a basic application, a very simple one. And I have deployed this application on runtime manager. So going forward, what are we going to do is we'll be going to the API manager. We are going to create an API instance. So basically, API instance, you can create multiple API instance as per your requirement or something, but we're just going to create one API instance. And also, we need to like, take into consideration that there have been a lot of changes in the UI of the API manager. Like earlier, if you see, it was quite plain simple, and they have actually added a lot of components, Flex Gateway, Service Mesh. Maybe in the upcoming series or maybe videos, we can also see try out all of this. But today we are just going to see a very simple one, Mule API Gateway. Okay. So this is for the API Flex Gateway, and this is for Service Mesh. We are just going ahead with the Mule Gateway, and we're going to do it with the basic endpoint. You could be also having a proxy application deployed, and this is for a Mule 4 application. So everything is already configured. You have to just do next. And then as we are selecting the API from Exchange, it has already, I mean, my Exchange is having just one API which I've published. So I'll be just selecting that one. And if you see, everything else is already populated, like the asset type, the API versions and stuff. So I'll be just clicking on the next button. And then I don't have to like if you want something to be like, or maybe externalized, if you want to explicitly manage all these instances and stuff, then you can. If you're having a different consumer endpoint, if a customer is having a different URL or endpoint, and if you want the URL to be used, so you can go ahead with this configuration. But to keep it very simple, we are just going to have like, we're just going to leave it blank, because this is something very basic, and then we'll be just saving it out. So with this, we have created an API instance, and with API instance, what we get is API ID and also the auto discovery ID. So if you see, they both are same, but API instances, you can be creating multiple API instances. And then what is auto discovery ID? It is something which you're going to use to link your API instance and the application which is deployed on your runtime manager. So to link between them, we are going to use the auto discovery ID. So I'll just copy paste this auto discovery ID. I'll go to my application, which is like in Studio. I'll click on create. Click on auto discovery. I'll add this auto discovery ID over here, and I'll select the flow name. So it is usually applied on the main. Okay, sorry. And just click on OK. And then you can just redeploy this application now that we have applied the auto discovery ID. And I'll just deploy it on the cloud up again. And while it is deploying on cloud up, we'll see other stuff as well. So yeah, I had already configured my cloud up credentials and all here, so it was quite easy. One thing you need to make sure is like you're having your API client ID, client secret, everything in place. If you have not already configured, if you have not set in the studio, so make sure you're having that. And you're just going to deploy this application. And once you have deployed, so you will be like the one over here. You can see it's unregistered. So it should be turning into registered once it is deployed and once the API instance is linked with your runtime manager. So that's where everything gets in place. So while a Mule application is still been deployed, we'll just explore some of the policies and all, and we'll see what all things we can apply. And going forward, what all things we are going to learn. Okay, let's wait. Yeah, API manager. Alex, do you have anything to add?
Nope. Looks good.
Yeah, do we have any questions? I mean, guys, if you have any questions or if you are using any policies or if you're doing any layering, like previously I have done is like maybe you can be using header injection or maybe OAuth or something like that, and then you could be having some logger policies and all. So if there is some particular order you guys have been using, so maybe please help me with the comment section, like mentioning like what all things have you been using, or if there is any other infrastructure you have been trying out, because I'm just exploring some different permutation and combinations, like how we can be doing this thing. So do let me know. Apart from this, yeah, this is our API instance, right? And this is something so easy. Actually, you guys can also maybe, you have to just create a API design. I mean, API basically using your Anypoint Exchange, and then just scaffold the API in the Anypoint Studio. Create an API instance, like how easy it was just going into the API manager and creating it out, and then you can just navigate. So here you can see there are different options, right? You can set the alerts and all. If you're, you can basically, this is like the control of your applications. And why do we need it? Like if you're having suppose multiple applications like in place, like if you're having hundreds of APIs, so you need a one place, like one place stop to like manage all the APIs and everything. So that's where the API manager comes into picture. Like you can be having an entire control on your APIs at one place. So you could be either adding some alert if you want. So there are several alerts and all, like I don't know why I'm not able to click. So there is no alert it shows. But yeah, you can create an alert depending on the request count, response time. If anything violates, then it will be like sending out an email to the recipient. You can add a DL group as well. You could be creating some contracts, I mean, for a group contracts or API instance contract, like regarding the policy violation or something like that. For your basically for your registered applications, like if you are registered, this is currently not registered because you can see it's unregistered. I'm still waiting for it to be registered. Yeah, it has been started successfully, but I cannot see the API auto discovery linking thing. Let me see if that has been applied. No, it has not been. Let's try out. Let's wait. Um, Also, this reminds me of a problem which we faced last time, Alex. So that was actually a glitch. Do you want to add anything about it, Alex?
What
Yeah.
glitch? You mean from DataWeave?
Yeah, the no, the data we one, the plugin or something.
Yeah, yeah. There was a bug.
And we have been trying, but I hope it's resolved. Okay, so the auto discovery ID has been it's proper, and but I cannot see it over here. Now let's wait for some time because once it is applied, what we'll be getting is it will be showing as registered over here now, which is unregistered, and that's when we can start applying our policies. So we will have some out of the box policies. We call them as the out of the box policies because they're out of the box. I mean, they are unique, they are nice, and we are also having like we can also have custom policies. There are different types of policy categories, basically offline, online, custom, and then automated. All of these things. So and they are not. I mean, previously we used to just think that they are only security related, but there are so many different categories. Like you can be having quality of service, transformation, compliance, troubleshooting, all of them. So under security, yeah, we have these things. But if you have some different or specific requirement related to security, like something additional, extraordinary, anything, then you can go ahead with the custom policy because even that's very easy to create, and you also get those GI and everything, like the cool stuff you can be doing, trying out by yourself using the custom policies. So
Just quickly, there's a question about the recording. Yes, you can see all of the recordings in our Twitch channel right there, twitch.tv/MuleSoft underscore community. So you can just go, and every single stream that we have ever done is going to be there all the time for you. So, yes, as soon as this stream is over, you can just go there and the recording will be there automatically.
yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, just to add, if you want the step by step, I mean, with pictures and everything, we have also done covered everything in our book as well, MuleSoft for Salesforce developers. That's it. Yeah, so the application has been started, but I don't see that the API auto discovery ID has been. Yeah, it has been. So here you see the API, okay, this one. So it has been actually added. Yeah, unless I'm not able to control that. Okay, where was that? I need my specs. Why am I not able to see now? I definitely need my specs now. Okay, yeah, it's here. Sorry. So API ID has been added to the same ID which we have like configured on the Anypoint Studio, and also we had configured it over here. So now that we have the API ID, let's go back to this API instance and see like how is the picture, if it has changed or something. This was an API instance, right? Yeah. Now we see the status has been changed to active. Earlier it was unregistered. So now that it's active, you can actually see like all the key metrics and all stuff, like everything related to your application, which is deployed on Cloud Hub. You can actually manage, you can see all the statistics. So now that it is fresh and new, I don't have any matrix over here available. But yeah, over the time when you use the application, you have a lot of requests and all. So you will be able to see. So now moving back to our main stuff like policies. So just to get started with this, we can maybe start with some basic policies like basic authentication, a simple one. And then during the next time, maybe we can try out JWT, OAuth, and all these things. But yeah, they're pretty much same. And we have documentation available for each of these policies. Like suppose if you're planning to go ahead with IP block list, IP height, uh, IP allow list, or something like that, or any of these policies, just go to MuleSoft documentation and you'll be like, I can actually help you out with that as well. Um, so MuleSoft documentation, it will be having you detail like component level description of what policy or which policy you should be basically using, because that's how I've been like relying on that information so for a long time. Policy overview for MuleSoft. Yeah. So they have actually mentioned like each of the policies, like applying policies, which order you can apply and how you can do. So Let me just see over here in the automated policy. You could be having. Oh, there's some place I'll be definitely sharing the link with you. So they have actually given like the field levels, like which exactly what field is used for what and like what you should be entering. Everything is mentioned. So do refer that. So going back, yeah, just try. Let's try out the basic simple authentication policy. So all you need to do is just enter some username. Okay, MuleSoft, you can get the password, same one, MuleSoft, okay. And in the advanced section, right, so you make sure that you're always on the latest version of the policy because that's very important. They sometimes add new features and stuff. So you can either apply this policy across all the methods, like we just have one method get, but you can be applying it across all the methods whichever you have, or you could be having like suppose if I would have been having different multiple methods, right, get, post, delete, and all these things. So I could have applied it across a particular method, like I'm applying basic authentication only on get methods, and if I'm applying some different policy IP block list on only on the post method, something like that, you can customize all these policies. And not just method level, you can take it ahead as well. You can just suppose if I'm having like where is my design center, sorry, or maybe I can show it over you. So suppose if I'm having this thing, it's songs, and I'm having some query parameter, URL parameter, like user ID or song ID. Okay. So I can also limit it to this level. Like I want to apply only on the songs. I mean, if I'm having some this thing over here, get, okay, and inside that I'm having get and post. So you can customize it as per that as well. Like I'm just applying basic authentication over here, and I'm applying maybe IP block list over here. So it's like that. You can customize your policies, but currently I'm just applying it across all the methods because we just have one method. So let's apply, and then yeah, it has been added. You can see you can just edit the policy. It has been enabled. You can simply disable it, but no, I'm enabling it. And once you enable or do any changes to the policy, basically all your policy level configuration, you will be able to see it in the logs as well. It takes some time to refresh, but yeah, you can see everything in the logs. So you can see it has been started. Yeah. So basic authentication policy has been applied. So now if I'm trying to hit the songs API, so I should be getting an error, right? Yeah, the HTTP basic authentication, the security context is not there. But then I can just go ahead. You can be using any of the client, whichever you want. I'm using Postman. Sorry for the noise. Yeah, basic authentication, just type in. So this was the most simplest one. I mean, you don't have to be someone expert to try out these policies. This is something like just to get started with the API security, because as a developer, we are quite reluctant on the security part. We are more active on the coding, development, and the designing part. But yeah, we should be aware about and we should be taking care of the control of the security policy stuff as well. So yeah, after I've entered the username password, I got a response. And yeah, let's see if it has changed the log status as well. No, nothing I can see in the logs. Maybe take some time. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, like, or if you want to just share your experience with the API security, what you guys have been doing, what unique you guys have been doing, if there is any architecture pattern you have been following, or security pattern, or maybe if you are aware about SecOps, or if you are implementing security with your DevOps, and maybe anything else, just let me know. Hmm. Okay, I'm not able to see anything in the logs, but maybe because I've not added the loggers. So yeah, when this is the case, if you want to actually see something from the logs, like now I'm not able to see, and if your application is already deployed on like what we say cloud up, or maybe it's running in production, and you don't want to like redeploy your application or anything, so in that case, what you can do is you can just add a quality of service, no, troubleshooting policy. So inside troubleshooting we have message logging. So just like the way we have loggers in an application, right, mule application, similarly you can apply message logging as well. So what happens with message logging is you can say like what message do you want to be logged. Do you want do you want the payload to be logged, or if you want some particular value which is coming from your application, like maybe if you want some value from the attribute, some headers, anything like that, or also with the conditional and something like that, you can add it. And if you want it before calling the API, after calling the API, uh, maybe after calling the API, whatever is the payload, I just want to be logged. I want it to be logged. And this settings, right? Like if you want to apply it across all the methods or a particular method, this is applicable for all of them. So just leverage it out as per your requirement, and then you can click on apply. So now you see we have two policies, and you're the one who's going to decide the order of policies. By default it will be like, yeah, so you can just select. They have actually made a lot of changes to this thing, and I'm using it for the first time, like all of configurations and all. It's been quite long. So yeah, you can actually change the order. Even if you're having more policies, more number of policies, you can still be able to reorder them, and whichever order you want to apply, you can select and apply. So yeah, we have two of them. We are having basic authentication first, and whatever output we are getting, we're just logging the payload. So let's see if the policy has been applied, because we are going to see the updates here. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions, I know this is very basic, but this is, I think, it's essential if you want to get started with it. Yeah, see, you can see the message policy has been applied. And yeah, let's try out sending a few more hits. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we are getting the logger. So earlier we were like not having logger. So if you are someone who wasn't aware about, like, if you're not going to use the loggers from the policy part, then in that case, how would you have made changes? So in that case, you would have to go to any point studio. You would have had added the loggers over here in your flow, maybe you could have and then you had to redeploy. But suppose if this application is already in production or maybe a higher environment, then redeploying an application, it adds actually to your process. But then this makes your task easy, because you just don't have to touch the application redeploy or anything like that. All you need to do is just go to API manager, create a API instance, and here you have. So that's it. So maybe we can just try a few more policy. Let me know which policy do you would like to try, or I'll just pick any one of them.
There's a question. Does the order of the applied policies matter?
Yeah, it does matter. So suppose, yeah, we'll also see that with an example maybe. So first I've applied basic authentication and then I've applied logger, right? So it will first be checking my authentication and then doing the logging thing. If I'm putting message logging as first, then the results will be different. You can try that out as well. I mean, it will be first printing the logger. I mean, we won't be getting, it will be printing, I guess, null logger, because after basic authentication, only the message will be actually going ahead and hitting your backend API. So also let me just check. As we are configuring like edit policy, I had selected it after calling the API, so we can do before calling the API as well. So we get to know like what logger has been printed. So this is the beauty of API Manager. You can actually go ahead and try out different policies, different use cases before order. I mean, you can add 10 more policies over here and you can just play around with the order and see like how it is applying. You can add some fancy loggers as well in your application. You can see like which one is getting printed first, what is the latency, how long it is taking, something like that. So yeah, let me see. I hope I answered your question. Yes, the order of policy matters. I mean, here in this case, it's very simple, so you won't be able to notice. But suppose if you're using something like header injection and you're injecting some header which is actually required, which will be consumed by a maybe different connector or something like that in your application. Like suppose if I'm having over here a different SOAP API call, REST API call, it's calling a it's calling in. I mean, this is a system API, but if I'm having a system or experience API and it's internally calling process API or system API, something like that, and that actually requires a header. So there is no point in adding the header injection at the last. You need to be adding it in the first. Only then the other policies, like whichever is below, will be like properly executed. Otherwise you'll be facing some security issues or all those things. So yeah, you need to plan it really well in terms of architecture, like which policies you are going to do and how is it going to be, and at which API level do all the endpoints need your policies, or only a few of them need? Like for Get API, you don't need actually authentication or something. I mean, you do need, but you don't need the fancy authentication like the higher end one. You can be having something simple. But if you are doing some post, or if you're making actual changes to the database or something like that, then you need to be sure that someone legitimate person is doing those changes and not anyone. So yeah, you can be careful around security. Just that's the reason I would suggest you that try on your trial account and some maybe just mock APIs. So yeah, we
So
have
Edgar says that you should try LDAP policy next time.
LDAP policy. Yeah, definitely. I have never tried that before, but we can definitely try that next time. I have been mostly playing around the JWT policies and the other ones, OAuth token and all.
And
So
there's another question. In which scenarios would a lone basic authentication policy be enough from a security perspective?
okay.
And is a lone basic authentication policy in line with zero trust security?
Okay. So zero trust security is, I mean, it's basically a different, I mean, not different concept. Basically, and just in simple terms, what it means is zero trust. Don't trust anybody. You're gonna be like doing what we say. Like you're gonna be ensuring that gonna trust. You're not gonna trust anyone, and you're gonna validate each and every entity at each and every level. Like you're gonna validate at process API level, system API level, experience API level. So in that case, you won't be like using simple authentication. It won't be like serving your purpose, because if suppose if there is an entity who is having access of your username and password, so that is some information that can be shared among anyone, like even the person who's not having access, some third party users who's not also a part of the organization, even they can hit the API, right? I mean, they just need this URL, unless and until it's not like yeah, this is the normal URL, and which they can be just entering the username password, and that's all. So that doesn't count as a zero trust security. In zero trust security, what we'll be doing is we'll be using a layer approach. Like with this one, if you see, this is the architecture, our API led connectivity. So, and we are having different components connected, just like the way we say this Lego building blocks, right? So at each level, you'll be having a different security at each connectors, maybe at each end systems and all kind of. So also at the experience level, you'll be having a different security stuff, and at the process level, you'll be having a different. So at that case, you're making sure that you're doing both authentication and authorization. So if just basic authentication won't be suffice. So if you're using some simple application, like wherein there are no much in systems involved, and you don't need much secure, it's not that crucial, something like that, so you can be going ahead with the basic authentication. Otherwise, it's better that we go ahead with some different policy wherein we are having those OAuth providers and all those things, like the identity management system in place, like Okta or Salesforce or anything like that. And I'm again sorry for the noise. I'm not sure what's happening. um, Yeah, I hope I answered your question. That that is the case wherein you can be applying basic authentication policy. So apart from this, there are also like spike control and rate limiting. I'm sure you must have heard about. Like if you want to just, these are normally used in the applications where we are having like experiencing high volume traffic. You're gonna get like large number of requests, and you don't want the request to be like you want to limit the request, then you can go ahead with the rate limiting. But if you want the request to be like slowed down or cooled down for a period of time, and then you want to buffer them out and then retry again, then go for a spike control. So in e-commerce side or something like that, where you're going to expect like, or banking applications, not banking application because that could be crucial, but something like a weather app where we have been like, or a result, something like that, like university results are out, and people are constantly going crazy and clicking the application. They want to limit the number of retries or something, from prevent their servers from crashing down, basically to improve the quality of service, so you can go ahead with them. Then there is header injection and removal. If you have something as a part of your header, like if you go in the postman, you can see in the header section there are, yeah, we don't have any headers as such, but in case if you're having any headers, if you want to add something new or remove something, like I can give you an example. If you're having headers which are coming in as a part of your experience API, but you don't want the process API to be using those headers, or if you want more headers to be added for process API to be executed successfully. Then you can add the headers or remove them. So it is something like that. You can just try them out as well. And when you're adding this thing, right, inbound header, outbound header, you can be having a key value pair. And not just that, you can be also adding data weave logic as well over here. So suppose if I'm adding something like ID, so I can actually add my entire data view snippet and all. Like, how am I going to extract this header value? If my header value is coming from, like, suppose if I'm adding this header value for a process API and the value is coming from maybe experience API or something like that. Even that is some good use case which you could be doing. But for now, I'm just adding ID as mule and then just sniff it out. Also, the inbound and outbound. Like inbound is something at the beginning of the mule processing, sorry, and outbound is something at the end of the message processing when the application. So, what do you mean by start and the end? So, this is the start, and this would be the end. As we just have one connector, there is nothing start and end. But yeah, the source would be like the inbound. So that's where your header is going to be not the source, sorry, over here. It is going to be over here, the listener point. So this is the point where you're adding the header, or if it is outbound header, which is down, so you'll be adding it over here. And I know we have like tried three policies, and this could be like overwhelming. So we have mule documentation for it, and it's like we'll be actually getting all the fields and everything, like how you should be applying and what are the field values, which one you can do see. So you can be having different, definitely this is having the old UI and the new UI is quite fancy, but the fields and everything remains the same. So for all the policies, okay, you have them. Just click on the policies provided. Okay, policies in mule 4, and you can see like which all policies we have, how to apply a policy, what is the category. Each field is described over here, so you don't have to rely on anything else. Everything is mentioned in the document. So let's try out header injection maybe, or if you want me to try out anything else, any other policy, we can just try it out as well. I have definitely not tried all, but yeah, this is the place where we explore stuff, where we fail, and everything working
There
smooth
is a
doesn't. Yeah, yes, sure. Yes, I.
there is a question. I don't know if you know it. It says, "Will course policy support Mule 4.2.2 version?"
Yeah, we do have course policy over here. We have used it. So basically, course policy is used when we have some. We normally apply it on the experience API or one which is like exposed to the end users. The if we don't have experience, if we have process API acting as a external API, just external facing, basically GUI facing, we could be having the course policy. So I'm not sure if it is deprecated or something. Yeah, it's been removed. I haven't seen that recently. But earlier we did have cross. Yeah, we do have, sorry. So it is cross border, cross origin. So next. Yeah, we basically our answer is we have policy. So public resource configuration. You can select for which endpoint do you want to. Yeah, it has been added. It comes under compliance. So basically what happens is if your request is coming from different browser and if you want your API to be compiled, maybe in compliance with the policy, or maybe the different request which is coming from different servers and stuff. You can be adding cross origin policy. It's called the CORS policy. And yeah, we have actually tried different type of policies like the header inject. I mean, troubleshooting different category of policies. So let's try it out and let's see what errors are we getting now because of the several combinations. No, we didn't get any error because there was just one security policy and that was like perfectly working. So yeah, applied header injection policy in this thing and in the logger. So if you want to see if the header injection, like the header which we have injected, right, we have added one header over here. Okay, in the end, if you want to see like if that header has been properly populated or something like that, what we can do is we can add one more logger. Okay, no, I'm not able to add the logger one more time. So I can just um, reorder the policy, I can add this message logging in the, yeah, course policy. It needs to be at the top always. I don't know. That is some reason. I don't know why is this like that, but yeah, it has to be at the top. So message logger, let me add in the end. Yeah, apply reorder. So in the message logging, let me just the header which I had added, right? Let us open this header, and it is having the value as ID. So it will be saved as attributes.headers.id. So let us check our payload if it is capturing the data well. So you should be getting the answer as mule, something like that, because the value was mule. So it will take some time to maybe load, process, and apply all the policies. It takes couple of minutes usually.
Well, that happens. There's another question.
Yes.
Could you please help if 20K requests every 1 hour can be considered as high volume? Will applying spike control help in that case?
So basically, it depends on your server capacity, number of recourse instances, what you have, how is the deployment architecture, and also you need to consider like if you want to go ahead with the spike control or if you want to go ahead with rate limiting. Maybe meanwhile that it's deploying or applying the this thing, we can check out what how spike control looks like and what configurations you could be doing. So yeah, here it is. So you can be choosing like number of requests and what period of time. So this is usually in milliseconds. So you said that 1 hour, just convert a time frame into this request and how many number of requests you could be like expecting and after how many. So what happens in spike control is if your number exceeds the number of requests exceed the threshold value, they'll be queuing the request, and you need to also be setting the queue limit, like what number of requests your queue can accommodate. If again the queue limit is full, then the excess request will be like discarded, something like that. But what you can do is in your maybe just as a POC, something like that, you can try using spike control and see how it is behaving, what is the latency, if it is actually helping your use case out. Because all you need to do is just configure this stuff. You can put 1 hour, convert it into milliseconds, and what delay amount of time you want. Like after 1 hour, how much time should it be waiting for the number of next request to be processing? For that, you should be knowing how much time does your one API request takes. What is the total turnaround time for your API request? After that, you can attempt a second. You can have a second attempt. I hope that helps. I hope so. Okay. If there are any other questions, please let me know like what you guys have been doing for your API security, or maybe not now. If you can just, if you do want, maybe you can just DM me later over LinkedIn or something, or you can just write out to me over email or Slack, something like that. Let me know what you guys have been using for API security, how it has helped. Because I'm actually trying to correct different use cases related to API security, so I can just consolidate it, everything, like all the information. So yeah, that's it. We have the message logging in place. Let's see. It has been applied. Yeah, the message logging. Let me try if by hitting the request. Okay. Yeah, so it has given me the value as null for header injection. And as I had said, the payload is it is like before and after, right? So after it is giving me null because the header has been consumed and everything. So yeah, I did get the value of attributes.headers.id as null. I don't know if there's anything else if you want to try out or something like that. We didn't face any errors today, Alex. This is quite different, right? Than what we have been experiencing in the past.
I guess because this is on any point platform and not
Um,
on local.
yeah, maybe while we're doing the custom policy, something like that, we're gonna face like a lot of errors.
Yeah.
That's good. But also when we get the errors and stuff, we do learn. And that's when we remember that we shouldn't be doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. So you could be using client ID enforcement. If you want to remove some headers, you can remove them as well. Like, yeah, these policies, which are the security, the complex one, the LDAP or 2.0 and stuff, they actually take a lot of time and patience. So maybe we can try a few of them, like as Edgar requested, LDAP next time, and also the durability policy, because that's like kind of my favorite and it's an easy one. We can also go for over 2.0. So this is mainly like a security series. We'll be doing one a month or something like that, and then next time we can go into custom policies, and then we can go around any point security with using RTF. We can do something around Flex Gateway. And if you have any suggestions, like what you would guys like maybe want to try out, like what we should be trying it out, so do let me know. And there are more releases coming up, there are more stuff coming up, so yeah, we'll definitely keep trying. Also, meanwhile, if I get access to CloudUp 2.0, we can try something out in that as well. Like we can just see the speed latency, how different it is from the original one. Yeah, I guess Alex, that's it, right? Do you have to add anything?
Nope, but we still have 15 minutes or so. So we can maybe answer questions
Yeah.
or whatever you guys feel like. By the way, next stream on August 25, we're going to have Jitendra again. He will be explaining, I think, Flex Gateway in Kubernetes. So if you are eager to know about Kubernetes and see how you can use Flex Gateway with that, that is going to be interesting. So make sure to tune in next week.
Yep. And also, if you guys are interested in doing something like something random, something Twitch stream, then do let us know if you're having some interesting topic, if you have something to show us, or if you're interested in contributing maybe via blogs, YouTube tutorials. I know we have a lot of stuff, but anything unique out of the box you have been trying out. So yeah, do share with us.
Yeah, and we can just try stuff out even if we don't know how to do
No,
it.
that's more fun actually.
Yes. It's fun to fail sometimes.
And that's how we learn, right? When we fail, when we try out different stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh,
Alrighty. I don't see any more
question, right?
questions.
Yeah.
Nope. What's your favorite policy though? You said
JWT.
JWT?
Yeah, because I've
Why?
applied it quite. I mean, I don't know. Out of that's the most frequently used, or I've applied. I don't know. Wherever I used to work, I used to apply a children policy because that was the most recommended one. It's quite easy to apply, manage, and all as well, and it's nice. It's actually helpful as well because you get the entire JSON payload. If you want some stuff, you can just add it inside, and all. Yeah, we'll just see next time.
Okay, so you will talk about it next time though.
Yeah, yeah, I would love to. So Edgar also suggested that we should be doing this thing, right? The LDAP policy. So we can try both of them because I think it wouldn't be taking a long time. We can
Okay.
cover it in one session, and then we can go ahead with maybe custom policies or something, and then custom policies will be actually taking two parts. I'm sorry, because the first one would be like the basic custom policy. You're just deploying, you're creating, publishing it on the exchange and all. The second part would be more like a GUI thing. Like how do you, like if in our policies we have seen that we get this radio buttons, text boxes and all to enter the policy things, right? Like the limits or whatever value. So how are you going to create those form and all for a unique policy? Because it won't be just a policy. You have to take inputs from the users. You will have to like do something right with it. So how do you create this check form kind of thing? What we used to do with our HTML form. That time I'd use those forms and stuff like JavaScript. So yeah,
Cool. I really like the client ID one. I think it's super easy to use.
super easy to use. Yeah, you just need to copy paste the client ID and stuff. But managing it sometimes might get difficult. I mean, it gets confusing as well with environments and everything. Like if you have large number of environments like dev 1, dev 2, if it's a large organization. But if it's a smaller one, it's easy to manage.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, there's a comment. I will be grateful if you cover Kubernetes.
I
Yes,
think
next
we'll be
week.
covering that soon. It's on a list, right?
Yes, next week Yitendra will talk all about it. So stay tuned next week, same hour.
3:30 p.m. BST. In your time, it will be like 10:30, right?
Yeah, 10:30 a.m. ET.
Cool.
And I think it's 7:30 a.m. Pacific. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Sweet.
If you
All
have
right.
any recommendation what we should be doing maybe in the upcoming streams as well, do let us know.
Yes. We have a lot of lineup coming up. We have
Mhm.
like Skate Away with Kubernetes. We have RPA on September 1st. I don't remember what we have on September 8th. And then we also have something for September 15th, but I don't remember the title. So, yes,
We are
we
full.
have, yeah, we have a lot of things to do.
Sounds good.
Oh, another question. Can we use spy control and rate limiting policies together?
I mean, you can, but they both are like kind of not contradicting, but they do the same job. So, when you apply rate limiting, you're actually discarding all the requests which are like after your threshold, if it exceeds a threshold value. And with spike control, what you're doing is once it exceeds the threshold value, you will be like giving some buffer time, you will be queuing those requests and then retrying it. So with rate limiting, you're just straight away discarding all of them, and with spike control, you're giving some considerate amount of time. So it depends on what you want. If you want to discard them right away, then use rate limiting, or if you want to, those requests are really important to you. If it's having some crucial data, you want to give them one more try, then go ahead. But I don't know if we can use them together. Never try because I don't know. Yeah, but we can definitely try that out. But why should we be trying it out? That's also a question.
What if you want to try it for a small amount of time, but then if it doesn't work in that time, then you reject it?
Yeah, for that we have spike control. Like if it's
Mm,
if the buffer increases, even if like we can have some queuing limit. So if that queue limit, like suppose if I'm having five API requests, and if we are getting like six API requests within that time, then it will be like discarding
mm.
even after the buffer limit.
Okay.
So
Yeah, maybe you can send us like your use case. Why do you need
why
to?
do you want? Yeah, that will be something interesting,
Yeah.
something nice.
Alrighty. Well, if there are no more questions, I guess we can just finish right now.
Oh
Is
yeah,
there anything else on your side, Akshara?
nothing. Sorry, you asking me. Okay, no.
Alrighty. Then thank you so much everyone for joining. Just reminders, the recordings are in our Twitch stream. So twitch.tv/MuleSoft community. You can also follow us on socials. On LinkedIn, you can find us as MuleSoft community and on Twitter as MuleDev. And I guess that's it. Yep. So just remember to go to Twitch and subscribe and follow and everything. And you will also get notifications on your phone if you download the app on your phone, so you can see as soon as we come live, so you don't miss any of our streams. So you can interact with us live. And that's it. Oh, there's another question.
Great.
Can we use custom policy with Flex Gateway?
Haven't tried that out. But that's interesting use because I think we can use it, right? Because we what happens with custom policy is we just publish it in our exchange, so we should be able to use it out. But that's an interesting one. I'll definitely try that out.
Yeah, I also haven't tried it, but it is my understanding that it should be supported. Maybe I'm wrong. But yes, maybe we can try it out later.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you, Akshara, for all of the insightful thing. I don't know a lot about security, so it's also great to see all of
Yeah,
that world.
yeah. That's the same with me for data view, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, see you next week. All. Oh, there's another question. Quickly. All right. If we have an experience API which has certain SLA policy, if you apply some timeout because any of the downstream API can fail or give you a slow response, where do you do it? On the experience or downstream APIs?
So we do it on the experience because as I've shown maybe the architecture. Should I bring that up again, Alex? My screen.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So here, if you see, right, the next slide. So this is how the architecture is. First, your API, the request will be coming to your basic endpoint. Basic endpoint, I mean, will be, suppose this is my basic endpoint, okay, the songs one, and this is a system API. So that is going to be like the lowest one. First, we'll be having a experience process API. So if you are saying process API is working slow, and if you want to give some buffer time, so the buffer time would be giving on the experience API. Let me just read your question again. Can you bring that up?
Yes.
Yeah.
If we, yeah.
I just need to stop sharing my screen. Cool. If we have an experience API which is having a certain SLA policy, service level agreement, and if we apply some timeout because of the time stream, API can fail. Okay, so experience API is having some service level agreement policy, and a downstream API can fail or give you a slow response. So you should be applying it on the maybe the upstream policy, like because the downstream is failing and you just need some time buffer time for your upstream policy. Basically on the previous policy which is going to be executed, that needs time, if I'm right. Jesus, where do you do it at the experience layer or the downstream layer? Are you still there with us?
Me? Yeah, I'm here.
No, not you, Jesus.
Ah, well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Sometimes the stream has a little delay when we say something and it reaches them. So maybe they're still writing.
I mean, the
Um,
question is still confusing to me. Like, if you have some timeout because of the downstream API is failing or giving you a slow response. So I'm supposing that we have an experience API, we have process API. The process API is quite slow, and experience API is having the SLA policy. So, and any of the downstream APIs, so you want to apply an SLA policy, service level agreement policy. So yeah, you can apply it on the upstream level because the downstream level needs some time to process it.
well, he says
Yeah.
thanks, clear.
If it's still not clear or if I've confused you, I'm sorry, but we can maybe chat up later as well. I would be interested in knowing the use case for them.
Yeah, you can go to Akshara directly on LinkedIn and she will be able to help you.
And if it still exists, we can definitely explore more with the product team.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Alrighty. Now we are out of time. Well, almost 2 minutes, but yes. Alrighty. See you all on the next stream then.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.